All right, let's take a look at my man Jim's swing here. Um, Jim has told me in his emails that he plays a slice, and I can tell from looking at his grip over here that yeah, I can guess that would be, and also from the ball position here. But let's take a look in slow-mo just at this golf swing, which is really not too bad. There's some setup issues, and let's look at that again. Let's do that one more time. And he told me that the ball ended up in the fairway about 250 yards out, and that's a good shot. And Jim, you got a really good golf swing. I can tell you're serious about the game. And let's take a couple of the first things. Let's just look at the first things that I see here. Looking at the down the line view, let me zoom in and let's get some setup things. Let's draw a line right here on where your toes are pointed. And that's not necessarily, it looks like your left foot is turned out or rotated out just a little bit, and that would make it, if it was more parallel, it would make it even further to the right. Then let's look at where the club face is pointing, which would be right about there, and you can let's say it's right there, and you can already see that those lines are intersecting. Let's take a look at your hips, see where they're lined up. To me, this looks like your hips are going right there, and then shoulders there. So if I zoom back out, we can see that you're closed off to your target. Your club face is a little bit shut at address, as if you take your hips and shoulders into consideration. And it looks like, since I'm zoomed out, your hips might even be a little more open than that. Hold on a second. There we go. A little bit more open than that. So let's look at that. So see what I'm saying there? We got to clean up those lines. I would say that if your target is that big tree, which you told me in the email it is, and then your shoulders are pretty much at that target, your hips are a little bit open, but your feet are really closed off. So you kind of have to toss it over your shoulder and then leave the club, toss it over your shoulder. By that I mean tug the ball or pull it left on purpose, because you're blocking yourself off from your target with your feet. And then you have to leave the club face open, and this is one of the reasons why, the club face open through impact, one of the reasons why you're always fading or always slicing the ball, which is another thing you said in your email. Now, there's a couple of other reasons for that, but first of all, let's go through the swing, through the actual swing. Now, it's a nice straight back takeaway, and this is a pretty good position right here, Jim. Club face slightly closed, and that's actually really good. Your head stays real still, and this is a terrific position right here at the top of your backswing. Your club is pointing right, a little bit left of that. But you can see that it's right there, kind of at your target line. You got a little bit of bow in the shaft. It's hard to see. But this is a terrific line right here, the line of your shoulders and everything going right down at the ball. This is a terrific position, power position right there. You're going to want to watch in the dipping of your left knee, although it looks pretty good because your head didn't dip down at all. let's go through that through a little bit more. And what's happening is you're making a little bit of a move over the top. It's just slight, but you can see that right there. See how your hands come forward? Right there, your hands come forward, and that makes it so you have to come down over the top and then lift your head in order to get back to the ball. If you were to stay in this position and then keep that right elbow, tuck that right elbow in and come around from there, it would be terrific, and you would get a lot more distance and the ball would go straighter. But you're coming over the top right there. You can see that move. Let me go back and forth so you can really see it. Boom, right there. It's very slight, very subtle. But I'm going to show you one thing right there. It's a pretty good position right here at impact. Hands are really high though, and the club face, you can see, is pointing over there. So that club face should be pretty square at this point, and it's not, because this frame is about 8 inches behind the ball, and then that frame is about 13 inches, 14 inches past the ball. So we don't really have a frame that's right in between, but you can see that it's open, and you can see it's just closing up now. And then you kind of swipe across it. You're having to swipe across it right there. Right there. You can really see the position where you're slicing across the ball as opposed to extending down the line. Right there, yep. So, and then you're recovering to make a really nice balanced finish, but you can see that you had to make an adjustment. You made an adjustment at the top of your swing, and that's what ends you up in those positions. Now, how to fix that? I'm going to just put a dot here where your hands are. Let's make it a yellow dot or something so you can see it. There we go. And then I'm going to take you through the swing, and the cameraman's moving a little bit, but see how much higher your hands are at impact than they were at address. So that's something that you could definitely work on, getting your hands back to the same position at impact, or at least the same distance in relation to your hips at impact as they were at address, because you're back here, you're at a really nice angle, even though they are even a little bit high here. They're almost under your eye. Your right hand's thumb was under your eye there. Let's zoom in on that. Thumb was under your eye, and it could be under your chin. But that's all contributing to your slice, because it's really tough to get the club face back to square. And I'm gonna switch over to this one now, to this view, to further illustrate that. You have placed your ball position way out here, outside your left foot, and this cameraman is actually, the center of the frame is actually a little bit to your left, or your I guess trajectory side, and you can see that you're actually leaning to your left as well, and the opposite should be true. You have to lean. You're having to lean to your left because your ball position is so far forward, and that forces you. The reason you've done that is because you need that extra split second to square your club face up. But if you take care of some of that, that's kind of a fix. Your ball position really should be about right there. Now, I think you can see here. No, you can't see it. You've really lunged into it in order to get back to the ball. And in spite of that, you are hitting the ball pretty well. If you're hitting it 250 yards down the fairway, then you're doing pretty good, especially if you're actually in the fairway. Haha! So let's take a look at this real slow, frame by frame. And what I love is that your head is really still. And that knee comes back a little bit, but you're not dipping on it, so you're not into the reverse pivot. It's a really good, powerful position right there. And you're getting behind the ball. Of course, you would have to be because the ball's way down there. Solid left side right there, and then you kind of crunch into it. Very nice. But then you're slicing across it right there. The hands are not turning over till there, and the hands should be maybe turned over at around there. So we got a lot of things, a lot of little teeny issues to work on, but I think it's a lot of really good information right there. I would practice really keeping my hands, and going back to this side, really keeping my hands and maintaining that angle. It's going to feel weird at first, but it's going to whip that club head around. And what's going to help you with that, let's take a look at this. I'm actually able to see your left thumb within your grip. I've never seen that before. So that means, number one, your left hand grip is weak, and that could strengthen up a little bit. And by that I mean roll it over. Keep the club where it is, but roll your hand over about that far, so you can see that this V of your thumb, and let me get a smaller, finer line there. The V that your thumb and forefinger crease make is pointing more at your shoulder over here. Your shoulder over there. And then also wrap your right hand over in this direction. I would really want to talk to a hands-on professional about your grip, because it's what you've done is I think you've adjusted your grip so that your club head doesn't whip over, and I think and hook to the left, because you're playing a pull or a tug on purpose, kind of tossing it over your shoulder like I said, and then leaving the club face open in order to keep the ball from hooking, and then also put your ball position so far forward that you've kind of lost a lot of the effectiveness of all the work that you're doing in this really decent golf swing. If it weren't for some setup issues and some grip issues, you'd be bombing the ball, I can tell, because you're a tall guy, big, powerful guy. You're athletic, and I bet you really play the game pretty well. I bet you're pretty consistent. What I'd like to do now is just say, practice putting the ball further back in your stance. Study the grip. Look at Ben Hogan's book. Everybody knows about Ben Hogan's book, and it's still really, really valid. And also work on these lines at address, especially those feet. Kind of just get everything. Think of your heels being square or right down the target line. Line up your heels down the target line. Don't worry so much about what your toes are doing. And then knees are over there as well. And then look at that. There we go. There we go. There we go. So we got all these conflicting lines. Let's try to get all those lines all down to the target line. Everything in one direction. Alrighty, and work on that. I think that gives you a lot to work on. Let me know. Send me another swing when you get some more stuff digested, and let's take a look at them both again. And it's just terrific how still you keep your head. That's really rare, and I like that the ball ended up right there with your target. Thanks very much, Jim. Hope you learned something.